Welcome to episode number 4 of Prospect Pulse, the podcast where we talk about interesting basketball players from around the world. I'm your host Alen, and in today's episode I will take you through some of the most intriguing players from the recently played U18 Americup that was played in Argentina last week. We will talk briefly about the MVP and some of the big names of the tournament. But let me start with one of the players that I think could be very interesting down the line, a young Brazilian forward playing in Spain for Betis. His name is Matias Alessanco. He is 2 years younger than his competitors, since he was born the 26th of March of 2008. At 196 centimeters tall, and although he is younger, he showed to have high usage within the national team, averaging 27.5 minutes per game. He plays inside out, post up, playing back to the basket or facing up, and shows what looks like a decent mid-range shot. Besides this, he seems to have potential to be a threat in catch and shoot threes. He's also very active off the ball, screening and spacing out. You barely see him just stand around lost. He always knows what to do. Defensive-wise, he helps defending the paint thanks to his big body. He is aware and very active and deflects passes thanks to his long arms. Besides this, he seems to respect the principle of verticality and is not foul prone at all. He ended the tournament with only 2.3 fouls per game on average. In my opinion, he can improve the on-ball defense when defending the perimeter when being outside, as well as controlling his body on closeouts. Character-wise, from what I have heard, working with him is great. His attitude is on point, and he enjoys being around his teammates and working hard. His performance did not go unnoticed, and this earned him the chance to currently be training with the Brazilian first team, where he surely will learn a lot from the already pros. It is definitely a very interesting player to follow down the line and see how he will fare in Betis. Since we're already talking about Brazil, let us look at the teammate of Alessanco, Enrico Borio, born the 17th January of 2006. He is also 196 centimeters tall, and the forward catches your eye right away because of his physical presence. He is in love with his shot, and although we see him hit a buzzer beater to close the half with a step back 3 in the quarterfinals game against Canada, he was not consistent at all during the tournament regarding the shooting. I personally would want to see him use his size better and keep the game simple. He looks good for his size, he's mobile and athletic, but I think he needs to find his role and a way to help the team, especially in offense. I believe that keeping it simple, develop one or two go-to moves and counters and facilitate making simple offensive decisions, letting him the game come to him would really benefit him moving down the line. Another Brazilian interesting prospect, in my opinion, was Patrick Otey. He is 1 year younger. He was born the 17th of October of 2007, and he's a clear-cut shooter. We see him scoring off catch-and-shoot situations or playing pick and roll. A very nice example is a basket he gets going left against Argentina. He looks like a decent playmaker, keeping it simple and facilitating play out of trap and dish situations. Defensively, he looks like an intelligent player and shows anticipation stealing passes. We see this happen throughout the whole tournament. He ended the tournament with a decent shooting splits, with 48, 35.7 and 93.3%. Last but not least, we have Junior Kem. He is also 1 year younger. The lanky lefty is a high motor athletic scorer who might or might not remind us of Victor Oladipo. He is good snaking through screens and operating in the paint, keeping the defender on his back in order to find a good shot in the zone. I need to see more about his shooting, but if he develops a decent catch and shoot in order to be enough of a threat when spacing out, he might be an interesting player to follow. These are not the only interesting players that Brazil has, but as we know, this podcast wants to give you a quick glimpse in under 20 minutes, so we had to choose, and these are the players that caught my eye during the tournament. However, the under-18 national team from Brazil is packed with talent and interesting players, like for example, the big Guimarães. We will find some time in future episodes to talk more in detail about them. The next player that we want to look at plays for the hosts of the tournament, Argentina. Tyler Kropp was Argentina's most solid player throughout the tournament, averaging 22 points and 11 rebounds per game in 31 minutes. At 204 centimeters tall, he plays as a mobile big with a decent long distance shot. He ended the tournament with a 60% success rate beyond the arc, although with a low volume, 1.3 attempts per game. He reminds me of CJ Wallace, who you might remember as an Australian forward who played for Princeton before going undrafted and had a great career in Europe, playing for Orlandina in Italy or Gran Canaria and Barcelona in the ACB. Kropp was selected in the best starting five of the tournament and has received interest from several colleges in the US. After his performance, he probably will receive even more. I'm not sure about his NBA potential at this point. At his size, he probably would be a wing more than a forward, but I don't see the agility and skill to play facing the basket there yet. As a stretch forward, however, down the line, with Vesenkov or CJ Wallace in mind as his ceiling, he definitely is a player to follow, especially for Europe in upcoming years. Staying with Argentina, and although he had a rough tournament with poor shooting splits, 42.9, 31.2, and 100% on free throws, but only on 5 attempts, Tomás Fernández looks like a guard or wing with an interesting physical profile. I really can't explain exactly why, especially seeing the games that he played in this tournament, but I want to follow more. There's something intriguing about him. Maybe some potential Brusino. They look kind of alike. He plays for Daytona Basket from Italy, where another of his Argentinian teammates plays, Bruno Farias, who with Sukatsky look like two very interesting point guards for Europe, thanks to their creativity, grit, and hustle. I really like point guards and players with this attitude and heart. I guess at this point we really have to do it. We have to talk about the MVP, Darius Acuff Jr. Born at the end of 2006, specifically the 16th of November, the 188 tall Acuff plays as a lead guard well above his age, with a calm demeanor natural to a veteran player. He can facilitate, he averaged 4 assists per game and dished 9 in the final against Argentina, or take over scoring wise, in the paint or with long distance shots. In this area, he ended the tournament with 31% success rate with 4.8 attempts per game. But in the paint, here is where he shines. With 10 attempts per game, he ended with a 54.1 success rate, which is solid for a guard of his size. I would like to see him more present in defense, especially on ball, where for my taste, he is too passive. But overall, he has great poise for such a young age, and he showed to be in control during the whole tournament. He really was on another level. The amount of top Division 1 offers he has from college is outstanding. Let's see where he ends and how he fares in his future endeavors, but definitely a player to follow and a potential NBA prospect. It's really difficult to choose who to focus on when watching USA. We probably could do a full episode only talking about them and their prospects. But in this tournament, there was another player that caught my eye. He's Jasper Johnson. The 193 centimeters tall creative scorer showed that he can produce in different ways. He had 3 games with double-digit scoring, with more than solid shooting splits. 63.2% from 2 and 42.3% from beyond the arc, with 4.3 attempts per game for 3-point shots. From the free throw line, he ended the tournament with a poor 3 out of 8 attempts, but as you can see, the number is very low to make a statistical conclusion. Besides scoring, he helped the team dishing out assists. In this area, he ended the tournament with an average of 2.7 assists. Dishing out 3 assists against Argentina in the final in 21 minutes, where he also scored 19 points. 3 assists against Canada in 19 minutes. Only 1 assist against Puerto Rico in the quarterfinals, but in only 11 minutes. And then 4 assists against Brazil in 19 minutes and 5 assists against Belize in 16 minutes. The last game, which was the first of the tournament against Argentina, he ended up with 0 assists, but he only played 8 minutes. As you can see, a versatile player that will facilitate the game or can get very hot from beyond the arc or inside the paint, and I would say one of the most intriguing prospects that they have to follow in the near future. Moving forward, it's time to take a look at another team that's full of interesting players. We're talking about the neighbors of USA, Canada, who ended up getting the third place, the bronze medal in the tournament. The first player that I would like to focus on is Beckford. Born the 20th of August of 2006, he's a 193 centimeters tall player who showed elite finishing ability. He's shifty and very crafty, very skilled finishing in traffic near the rim. This translates clearly in his efficiency scoring in the paint, 54.5% with 7.3 attempts per game. The outside shot does not seem to be there yet, but he's a dangerous guard thanks to his combination of a quick first step, his skill finishing, and his defensive awareness. It was remarkable to see how he navigates through screens when defending and how he anticipates and uses his body to the best of his ability. He will definitely go to Division 1, so another one to note down and check in a few months' time. His teammate, Jayon Pitt, is a slasher with a good first step and control and fakes. Canada liked to find him repeatedly on the low post, where he showed some moves and took advantage of his size. He was also very helpful crashing the boards. He got at least one offensive rebound in each game that he played. We even saw a 3 from the top of the key against Brazil. If this is a weapon that he is able to add to his toolbox, he will become a really interesting forward. Also worth mentioning was Hasley, a quick guard with playmaking ability and one of the highest assist rates of the tournament. But like I said before, many interesting players in Canada, definitely worth of an episode of their own. If you would like to know more about any of their players, feel free to hit me up for a more detailed report on them. Last but not least, we're gonna end up the episode talking about two of the players that had the most impact, not only for their teams, but statistically in the whole tournament. The first one is Josiah Mosley. He was the star of Belize, who got an upset on the first day against Brazil. And, well, let's get right into it. Born the 13th of May of 2006, the 198 tall player was a leading scorer for his team and ended up being the highest scorer from the whole tournament. He was clearly the go-to guy, averaging a total of 14.5 attempts per game. His shooting splits did, however, not suffer from the volume. He ended with 53.2% from 2 and 44% efficiency from 3, with 4.2 attempts per game. He also helped the teams in other areas, capturing 6.8 rebounds on average, getting 1.5 offensive rebounds per game, and dishing out at least 2 assists per game. Not bad of a stat line. We will see him play for Villanova, from what I see and read on the internet, so there will be plenty of time next season to focus on him and get into the weeds. The other player played for Dominicana, and this was Carbuccia. He's a modern point guard that showed range and also, like Mosley, very high usage, total average of 11.8 shots per game. His shooting splits were not that great, 42.1% from 2 with 6.3 attempts and 30.3% from 3 with 5.5 attempts per game. Yes, he had the green light to shoot, but at the same time he was able to help in many other ways. He dished 6 assists per game with 2.8 turnovers and 3.2 steals to make up for them. He's got offers from programs like Xavier, West Virginia, Stony Brook, Providence, or St. John's. So it will be definitely exciting to follow him in college and see how he does in what probably will be a different context. A team where he probably, maybe, will have less usage, and will be interesting to see how he adapts to this and if he's able to produce in different ways. So we went over different players. We went quickly over them, like we did in episode 3, where we did a similar episode on the Adidas Next Generation Tournament finals that took place in Berlin. And yeah, should you sign any of these players based on these? Probably not, but at least now you should have heard their names. Maybe you even have noted some names down that caught your attention and want to follow closer in the upcoming months. Would you like to have a more in-depth report about any of them? Would you like to know something specific about an area of any of the players? Something about their game? How does Karbucha play the pick and roll? Does mostly score playing more facing up the basket or in the low post? How do they do on defense? Well, feel free to get in touch and we can surely work something out. Thank you for listening. As usual, if you would like to share this episode, it would be greatly appreciated. And I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Have a nice day.